Thank you for joining us. We actually did unveil communities yesterday, so it's reintroducing communities and ideas today. So welcome to that. There will be no change in case you were in the session yesterday. But what we are doing is we're using a consolidated approach to increase our interaction with you guys and ultimately with end users as well. And we're going to be doing that through communities and ideas. Communities being kind of a forum, but then some business processes along with that. And then ideas being a place where you guys, when you do see something where you would either like it or just brainstorming, can give us that idea without us having to be there. Sometimes some of you have resident consultants, in which case you can just use them as an ear. But in case you do want to come on in, then it will send ideas directly to our product management team. So along with that, let's just dig in. So if you want to, and I encourage you to follow along if you have a tablet, laptop, anything like that, so you guys can actually get in and start playing with it yourselves. We are at the AgileAssets.com website. And if you notice up top, right in the middle, there is a link that says Communities and Ideas. If you go ahead and click on that, it'll bring you to a login. This is not your AgileAssets login. This is just a login we would have for both Communities and Ideas. It's one single instance that you guys can log into. It doesn't cost you anything. It's all part of what you guys own. In fact, even if you don't own some of these modules, then you're more than welcome to come on in and see where we're progressing and also come in to use our knowledge base as well. Before you have a login, there's a button down in the lower right that's sign up. I'm sure lots of you have used similar things before. And I'm just going to make up a name. Bill John. And then he's going to be ComUser 3. So hopefully if I got everything right, this will have gone through and I will have created a user. So I did enter my email address and then a password. And I'm not going to save it, but then it does log me in as a new user. As you do log in, there are a few things to look at. There's a search bar, in which case I can start looking for anything that I want, and when I do return it, it'll bring back any kind of discussions or ideas that are associated with it. In this case, there are a few items for ITS that I searched for. Otherwise, you do have information about yourself where you can start changing your profile as you get a little bit more into this. And then as you are at the home page, you see that there's topics and ideas. Topics is really the discussion forum for communities, ideas being, of course, ideas. We do have a leaderboard, so we did gamify this to see who will have most points. You can see who's using this a lot. In case there is someone that you do want to reach out to, then you kind of know who they are. Right now, I am listed as the expert because I'm a moderator, so I can change how many points I have. Digging right into it, in terms of communities, we do have forums, and this is really as a tool. It's really just it's a little bit more, and it's really kind of up to you guys how you're going to use it that will indicate its success and its future. But we do have a setup of topics broken out, including a client care, which is more for a kind of a general question if you want someone from AgileAssets to answer it. But really, our intent here is to say, if you guys have a question or something you really want to talk about that you want to open up to other users of AgileAssets, internally included or other DOTs, this is where we would love for you guys to start having these conversations. We know that you have a lot of great conversations here at IUC, and we want to make sure that it isn't just once every 18 months or whatever frequency you guys do end up meeting, not just at conferences, but a place where you can just say, hey, I've got a question. How are you guys implementing this new federal standard? And then you can see, because you guys all do very similar things, but you all do them in different ways. So it's good to see that how someone else is approaching the same problem you guys have. Tell what it is you can do. I'm just going to go and click on maintenance management first. And I did put in a couple of these, and at our last session we had a few users enter in a few as well. But one of the items that I put on all of these are what are your most important reports that you need out of the box. So this will kind of tie in with communities, which Michael will talk about here in just a minute. But really what we want to know here is, hey, as we progress our product, what are the reports that you find most useful on a day-to-day basis that we should consider to put into our out-of-the-box solution so that everyone has something similar? Again, changes from implementation to implementation, but we can start working on how to make this so that everyone can use it and everyone can benefit. In order to create a new discussion, I'll let you guys guess what we do. As we click on the button that says New Discussion, it will pop up a box, and it'll say, where do we want to post it to? You have the choice of where you would like to post all these items. In this case, I'm just going to put it into client care. And I will actually ask a question. Anyone want to volunteer what I should ask as a question? Or for a new forum?
How about what modules does Summit work for?
Thank you. Which module? Summit. All right. So I ask it, and now all of a sudden you will see that it will bring us in here, and it will have created a discussion for that. So other people can answer it if you really wanted to. If you already knew the answer and you're one of those forums, stalkers, I guess is what they'd call them, that just goes through and looks at everyone's forums. You could answer it, and you would get points upon that leaderboard. Also, what you'll notice is that as we entered that, there were 2 tags that were created, one for Summit and one for client care being the area in which it was located, and then kind of area of interest here for Summit. And so what we can do then is start smart tagging. It actually does this automatically, and it uses some machine learning to tell what the main topics are. It'll allow you to search based upon Summit, and there's a question on where's this. So in case you do have questions about how to use Agile Assets, then you can just come here, and all of a sudden you can either search for something or you can directly answer it. In terms of this, I've now put this in here. Bill John asked the question, what happens now? Well, it waits until someone looks at it, right? We do have commitment from our product owners who are under Jared and the client care representatives who are under me to be looking through these at a minimum of once a week, but probably to begin with it'll be a little bit sooner, depending on what kind of traffic is here. We would like for this to be kind of the place, at least from the client care side, to start putting inquiries. I know a lot of you are using Freshdesk and some of you guys are using Service Desk, but this is probably a better forum because then we can get not just the client care people looking at it, but we can get you guys looking at it. If you guys have the same question, then you can see it, as well as you have the SME expertise of the product owners as well. So really, I am going to open it up to you really quickly to see if there are any items that you guys really want to talk about on this before I pass it over to Michael. There is one more item about communities that I have not yet talked about, but from the software perspective, this is it. It's pretty easy, hopefully. There is actually a topic on here is what would you like to improve on communities? So if you see something that's wrong, we will be monitoring it and see what we can do to make your experience better with it.
Any questions?
Just throw it.
Rob, we also have the option on Freshdesk to ask questions about specific items. So how this would be different from that?
It's not necessarily different other than the fact that when someone from, say, YDOT will put in an inquiry, it's visible to YDOT, but it's not going to be visible to everyone. So this becomes visible to any user and it can be searched through. It's kind of like an FAQ. All right, so the software aspect appears to be done. The other aspect of communities will be the quarterly calls. So what we're doing is we're going to have once a quarter, and we're going to start with maintenance management, pavement management, and then structures or bridges as well. Is we're going to have kind of like a mini IUC where it's just a call that's organized by us but run by you guys, the users, to showcase what it is that you're doing. Whether it's a specific topic that's hot right now, or if there's some functionality you want to show off to people. We will be setting that up, and we will be putting the suggested topics or the ask for topics in communities, and then we'll also be putting the agenda and the WebEx details in there for you guys as you go through that. That will be run by the product owners, like I said, so they will have a hand in that, and they will be the ones that are going to be progressing our system along with the product management side. So we figured this is the best case and the best way to get you guys all involved. So with that, I'm going to say we're going to pass it off to Michael. Oh, Mr. Pascal.
Is this open? Is this going to be open to the overseas clients?
It's open now.
Yep, it's open. So, like I said, just come to AgileAssets.com and you can click on Communities Ideas. And for you as an internal employee, your Salesforce login will work. With that, I do want to reiterate that this is only as powerful as you guys help us make it to be. So if you don't show up to it, then it's probably not going to be any good. But if you do show up, then this thing can be great. So, oh yeah, I guess I can log you in here.
So a big part of this is we got to, I mean, as we go out and talk to all of you, we always hear is like, it'd be great if we had user groups around bridge or around pavement or around maintenance and had a way to interact with each other. And so we thought, you know, let's bring two things together here. Is one, give you a facility for interacting with each other a lot more, you know, online, be able to connect, discuss, share. But then the regular quarterly calls are really meant to help facilitate that discussion. And it's not going to be us presenting to you guys. We want to work through the forums to set an agenda for those, and then have, you know, somebody say, okay, you know, next month I'll share what I'm doing about this. I think we've already got somebody lined up to do the first one on bridge from North Carolina. So they were all like, yeah, we're in and we want to do this. Dan was really excited about it. So, you know, we'll do the same thing for bridge, pavement, and maintenance. And then once we get those up and going, we'll start doing those for the other modules. So it's not like, hey, we're going to ignore fleet and right away in stormwater and everything else. The intent is to say, you know, let's get it started with these three, see how it goes, learn some things from it, and then repeat for the other modules. So, all right, it's got the little blocker on it. All right, so ideas, very similar. It's in the exact same place as communities, and people have already, I think, started going in there and putting some. The idea behind this is we want to give you a way to influence more directly the roadmap and the priorities on the roadmap. In a previous life, I've used this exact same thing, and what it does is we're going to cast that net out there, and we give you guys the ability to say, we want to share this with all of our users. We're only going to keep it to a handful of people. That's up to you. Anybody can go to the Ideas Communities link on the homepage, drop in, get a login, go into Ideas, and start submitting ideas. Or, because this is open to everybody, like Rob mentioned about the communities, you know, if Wyoming goes in there and submits a product idea, it's visible to New Mexico and North Carolina and Kentucky and everybody else. The beauty of that is you can start going in there and voting on each other's ideas, which then helps us know, hey, this is an important thing. I've had experiences in the past where there were things product management was clueless were needed. But because you get this groundswell of, you know, it's just this tiny little nit, but everybody's like, this is a thorn in our side, and if we just fix this, it would have a huge impact. And there were hundreds of votes for it. So we found out about it through ideas. Other cases where people are like, this is the most important thing, and then nobody voted for it. And they're like, all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, this and this and this are more important. Because all of a sudden, everybody's got the context of there's all these other things we could be doing with the product, adding functionality, adding features. And so the idea behind this is to help you help us prioritize the backlog. Be responsive. You know, we've gone to 7-week releases, we're going to 6-week releases. We want to be responding to you guys. And so this is fundamental to how we do that. So you come in here, and it's really, you know, again, like new discussion. Post your idea. Anybody have an idea of something they'd like to see in the product? Jared? Huh? Oh, come on, Rob.
Fewer login screens.
Fewer login screens. But you know, in the grand, this is a pretty good looking one, as login screens go. And Rob won't tell me his password for some reason. Yeah, Michael is my favorite. I don't think that's what it was. All right, I keep worrying I'm going to trip over these cords back here. So you come in here, you click ideas, and just for say, ideas don't give you points here. There's not a way I can give you points for ideas right now, and I really wish I could because I really want to pass Rob. So, and to give you guys a little more insight, Rob went in there, changed the point value for one thing, did it, and then dropped it back down to 1 point and gave himself 1,000. So that's not a legitimate 1,000. We're calling for a recount. Okay, so ideas. You come in here and you can see all of the ideas everybody else has put in here. They are sorted based off points. So, oh, it's good. A lot of people have started coming in and voting. So every vote is worth 10 points. You can upvote or you can downvote. A downvote is -5. So you're like, no, that's not important, or I just don't like New Mexico. All their ideas. Sorry, Phil. He really does have the best ideas. Is that better? Okay. Pascal's like, no, I'm just kidding. Okay, every idea is a good idea. We actually debated turning off the down button. The down button is off on communities. You can only like things on communities. On ideas, though, we were like, okay, no. You may want to come in here and say, okay, my top 5, my bottom 5. That's the use case. But predominantly, most people just use the up arrow or the thumbs up because we just don't feel like thumbs downing all the other ideas. You can come in here, you put the ideas, and some of you may notice you can see who submitted it. You can see the status of it. So we have new idea reviewed. So everything comes in as a new idea. The product managers, like Rob said, are going to be in here reviewing the ideas once a week. And what they do is they actually they have another way of looking at this. They see a whole list of, let's just look at ideas in the last 7 days. So, oh good, GIS collector here from Doug McBroom. And a couple others from Rob. Wade submitted one. So you can come in here and submit ideas. Product managers see these, and they can actually come in, pick an idea. Let's grab one of these. Allow users to, and I'm showing this just so you guys can understand. You're not going to use this side of it. Create a repair order if already one. Cancel creating a repair order if one already exists. So the product managers will come in here on a weekly basis or more frequently as appropriate and status these. Reviewed, okay, we've looked at it. On the roadmap, we've scheduled it. We've got an idea of when we're going to do it. In design means they're now starting to design it, figure out how we're going to implement it. Under development means it's now moved into one of our sprints, we're working on it. Development's complete, but we haven't released it and delivered. And so everything that's going through product development that comes from these new ideas, they'll be updating to these statuses, and you will see that here on your idea. Everybody follow? Makes sense? So it's not just, hey, it's an idea black box where you just drop ideas in and you never hear from them again. Product management's going to status them, but they also have the ability to, go into these, comment on them. So if I pick one, you would see comments down here below, and you'd see a whole thread of comments that could be back and forth. So as they get this, an example of system notifications by role. I think this one got mentioned in the general session this morning. Product management may come in here and say, okay, here's how we've mocked up the workflow for that. Here's how we think it's going to work. What do you think? And you could give comments and feedback on it. And so they're going to use this bidirectionally to interact with you guys as you submit ideas. We're like, okay, here's what we think we could do with it. Give us more feedback. And so it's not meant to just be that black hole kind of, garbage can collector ideas inbox thing. You'll vote on it. All of these, same with communities. On the side here, you can come in and say, okay, I'm a maintenance manager person. Just show me the ideas for maintenance. And so you could come in here and vote on these. So we haven't voted on this one from Doug. There we go. And so that easy. Votes cast. You don't get any extra points for it. I'm sorry. But you can vote on the ideas and then help us raise them up. I think I shared in the other session as well as in previous lives with this, people worry about, there's something we want there. Is it against the rules to tell people to go vote for it? It's not. If you have a problem and there's enough people passionate enough to come in here, create an ID, vote for an idea, submit an idea, we will take the votes. It means there's interest, there's demand, there's a want for getting the problem solved. And so it's a really good way for us to gauge how much value there is on a particular feature enhancement, new product idea, whatever it may be. Does this make sense to you guys? All right, so what are a couple ideas top of mind you'd like to see submitted into the product? Anybody have some examples? We'll go through creating one.
Why don't you also show them what happens if you try to create one that's already built?
Going to right now.
Okay.
You can tell we've done this once before. Lisa, you got an idea?
That's what I was thinking. I think I have a bunch. I just can't think of them
Okay. When you go away, you know, the tool's there, go create your idea and start dropping ideas in. We want to hear about them. I know Pascal's got ideas, so I'm not going to ask him.
I'm writing them down now.
Yeah. Patrick, you got any ideas?
I'm sure I will.
Okay. Everybody's on the spot. They're feeling the pressure.
We got click and drag the GUI.
Okay. And that one doesn't fit specifically to modules. So in product, we have a general category. So you can come in here, you pick general, and then one of the things it will do is it looks and tries to identify, are any of these, is this common to any of these other things? So when you create a new idea, it's going to match these. And the idea behind it is, if it is similar to something somebody else has already asked, don't create it. You click that other one. So if I click this, it would close this new idea, give me the other one, and I can vote on it. So it's just trying to help minimize duplicates. Anything in particular you want me to put for comments on this?
Being able to, instead of toggle, you can just click and drag, like resource and go first one.
This keyboard is not my normal keyboard. All right. So the idea is submitted. You can log in, go vote for it, move it up a little bit, but it shows it up in here. Any new idea always pops up with this reddish orange line underneath it, so it kind of sticks out right there at the top. And then if we come back here and look at all, we're going to be back and it's sorted by the order. So the highest point items are going to be at the top. As time goes by, one of the questions we got asked in the session yesterday was, will we ever delete ideas? So my perspective is deleting an idea is just a bad idea. Over time, you know, there may be something, you know, that Pascal comes up with an idea nobody else likes. I can't imagine that, but it could happen. Nobody votes for it. And 3 years down the road, we're still sitting there with this thing with 10 points on it. Well, Pascal's a little bit more progressive in his thinking, and we just haven't gotten mature enough to think about that idea. And 3 years from now, everybody's all of a sudden like, yeah, we need that. And it will move up. And I've had that experience before where you put something in and it's just the timing's wrong. And so we're not going to delete ideas out of there. We are going to look, obviously, we will delete ideas that, you know, offensive or inappropriate kind of things. You know, that's life. But we're not going to be deleting ideas out of there. What we will do, though, is over time, as things get delivered, we will take them out of the system so that they're not clogging it up with, 100 things that are delivered with 1,000 points on them. Blocking up the top of the list. We want you guys to see the relevant stuff at the top of the list. Anything I'm forgetting? So, like we mentioned, we'll be checking. Yeah, Pascal?
I have another question, but yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say there is a good idea.
Okay.
But there is a bit more definition that's needed on that idea
Yep.
to go from idea to product.
Right.
What's the process? I mean,
So what will happen is product management may come back and say, okay, we need a little more detail on this. One of the things from the product management side is we see everybody who's voted for it. So we can reach out directly to that group. We may come, the likely cases will come back and say, okay, we could go this way, we could go this way, we could do this, we could do that. What's the real intent here? You know, sometimes people come up with ideas that are solutions rather than helping us identify the problem. So we may come back and try and get to the root of what is the problem you're trying to solve. That'd all be in here. And so everybody could participate in that. So at least if you had a different idea than, Philip or Patrick, they could come in and elaborate as well. It's like, well, no, in our situation, this is what we want. And so all of that would be captured in here, defined out, and then product management may come back later and say, okay, now we're to the point where we're in design, we've got a mock-up. What do you think? Give us feedback again. So the intent here is to really start putting some of that process, be really transparent about it. So. Yeah, Perry?
I'm trying to think of, never mind.
Okay. Yeah.
Ralph, you mentioned the quarterly calls that have been started. When do you anticipate those to begin?
They'll begin, I don't know, you guys know?
Yeah.
They're going to begin, I guess, the end of the month. We'll start being scheduled.
So you'll have to be logged in then to this at some point, or know when those are going to begin occurring, kind of a notification, let you know, hey, something new out here.
We'll
Right.
probably, at least in the beginning, do Dual. This is where we would put the agenda itself in the WebEx, but we'll probably But this can hit people that we don't even know are interested in it.
I just want to be able to forward something out to all the rest of
Yeah.
the folks in our organization and make sure they can know what it's called as well.
And part of the reason why we're only starting out with 3 is trying to figure out how that should work. You know, what's the infrastructure need to be like? How do we message to it? What we'd like to do is kind of have it be self-contained. But you've got to get critical mass first here for it to be the relevant way to notify people. So if you're worried about not being invited or involved in those, you know, let Rob, me, Jared, the product managers know, so we can make sure you're included when we kick those off. You're like, oh, I want to be part of the maintenance or bridge or whatever. Make sure we know, and we'll make sure you're invited.
Sorry.
No worries.
Are they going to be recording for future consumption?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not one of those things we're going to broadcast out to everybody or, you know, but they'll be, I mean, part of it is we're going to want to recapture them just so we can, you know, go back and, you know, if the team's discussing a new thing about bridge inspections, you know, product management's going to want to go back and listen to that and say, okay, what are they doing in North Carolina? What do we need to be doing? Let's make sure we get that right. And that's part of why, you know, the value for us in helping facilitate this is we get to listen in on, you know, what experts are doing and making sure we're supporting that with the product. And that's a big part of the effort of communities. But the other part of it, it's like IUC. When we look at the feedback every year, one of the positives, everybody's like, oh, I met somebody new that I didn't know was doing this. Or, you know, I've already had a couple of requests from people, can I get the introduction slides? Because there were problems people are facing or things that are on their initiatives list. They're like, we have the same thing. We want to connect with those people. This is meant to help facilitate that so we're not waiting 18 months to find those connections and make that happen all the time and ongoing. And, you know, like there are plenty of people who didn't make it here, you know. Good group of folks over from Europe and the Middle East who are not in attendance who could participate as part of this. So, anybody else? So this is open for everybody. At some point through a service pack or a feature update this year, communities and ideas will show up as a link inside of the product so that users will actually be able to, from in the product, go, I have an idea, submit it, and it'll go right, they'll be able to go to the board. So we're going to open this up. We're not going to discriminate, say, oh, it's only for admins or only for everybody. You know, the way we find out how to solve problems for the, I want to call it the smallest of users, is to be able to reach to the smallest of users. And so communities and ideas will be open to everybody. You can decide how much you want to broadcast that out inside your organizations. But don't be shy about it because of us. So how do we do?
Is there
Yeah.
a forum in here that you could include maybe the subject matter experts from each state that could be easily accessible to everybody else? If they have questions about a certain topic.
So one of the things that we have the ability to do, and we're kind of waiting for that critical mass to happen, is you can actually indicate somebody as a knowledgeable person. And so at that point, we'll kind of promote them, your badge, as you participate, we'll be like, okay, this is, Dan's the guy.
Right.
And so he's somebody, if you've got questions about bridge, you want to go to him. And so that will happen as we start to get the mass and people are in there, we'll indicate them. So, make sense, James?
Perfect.
Wow.
And this is the second time I've seen it.
Better or worse today? Same? Good answer. Good answer. All right, so 31 minutes, a little shorter than yesterday because we knew what we were doing. So you guys get a little bit of time back, but don't hesitate to get in there and start creating your ideas and submitting ideas. Jared and team, they just shipped 7.3. There's nothing else for them to work on right now.
Operators are standing by.
So, and if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask one of us.